We're here in Cleveland, Ohio, during the Republican National Convention at the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church with Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West, thanks for taking some time to speak with
I'm
me.
blessed to be in this historic church. Indeed. It's a blessing to talk to you, brother.
I wanted to start by asking you why you decided to have this event here at the Baptist Church during the Republican National Convention. Is it related?
Oh, indeed. I mean, with my dear brother, Reverend Dr. Jawanza Kareem Lightfoot Colvin asked me to come. I said I would be delighted to come. He asked many, many months ago. And the fact to be able to be in this church, this is the center of my own tradition. I'm a product of the black church, I'm a product of the legacy of Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin King, and Ella Baker, and so many others. And so to be able to have our counter dialogue vis-a-vis what's going on downtown with the Republicans is a very inspiring and empowering activity.
You said on social media that you're backing the Green Party nominee. Why did you decide to endorse her over Hillary or even Trump?
Well, as I've said, I think Trump is a neo-fascist catastrophe, which is very dangerous, in many ways lethal. I think Hillary is a neoliberal disaster, which still makes her dangerous, not as dangerous as Trump, but in some ways in foreign policy even more dangerous. And so I'm opting for my dear sister Jill Stein, the Green Party, who is much more consistent, morally consistent, politically consistent with keeping track not just of the planet before profits, not just the people before profits, but also peace before profits.
Now, I overheard you a little bit talking earlier about how Hillary and Trump are similar in your mind. What areas do you think are similar between Hillary and Trump, which is leading to you not endorsing?
Well, Sister Hillary is much better in terms of social issues, keeping track of our precious gay and lesbian brothers and sisters and bisexual and transgender folk. She's much better in terms of at least wanting to address some issues of racism. There's no doubt about that. In terms of economic issues, they both tied to Wall Street. Trump's independent money man, but he still has a Wall Street mentality. It's big money, big banks. And when it comes to foreign policy, Hillary, of course, is much more of a hawk than he is. There's no doubt about it. So that both of them, I think, are very dangerous. It's just that when you specify certain zones, she's better in certain zones, and he's better in certain zones. But he's still neo-fascist, which is in the end very, very frightening.
Now, I've heard some Hillary supporters say if Trump were to get elected, it would be the end of the world. I've seen that a lot on social media. They literally believe it would be the end because they don't trust him with national security and foreign policy. Do you agree with that?
He's in over his head. I don't think it'd be the end of the world. No. Fascists have ruled, and fascists have been overthrown. So he'll come and go, but he'll leave such damage. Now the possibility of just blowing up the whole planet, that's a possibility. But her attitude toward Russia, her attitude toward China could lead toward a World War III too. So
Hillary's?
Yeah, you just never know. All that war rattling with NATO, troops, right? It'd be like Russian troops in Canada and Mexico. You can imagine what the U.S. response would be if Russian troops were in Mexico and Canada. That's where NATO troops are now, right on the border of Russia. And she has actually been very aggressive in terms of NATO troops being more intense in their activity. So both candidates are dangerous. They're not equivalent, though. Neo-fascism is not the same as neoliberalism. But for poor and working people, it's still highly dangerous.
Now, I'm getting the signal to wrap up, but I want to ask you about, you're saying fascist in regards to Trump, but is it fascist in your mind, though, to have a foreign policy, as he's expressed, as America first? We have to take care of our people in America first before we worry about the rest of the world and their issues. Do you agree with that?
Well, what's fascist about it is that when you get the lethal combination of big business, of xenophobic scapegoating of the most vulnerable, of Muslims and Mexicans and women, and then connected to an American first that has militaristic orientations. There's nothing wrong with any country being concerned about their citizens within territory. But you would think there has to be a humanistic dimension that recognizes we all inhabit the planet as human beings. And so the narrow kind of nationalism, the very truncated kind of patriotism, does have neo-fascist implications when it's tied to his own narcissism, his own autocratic sensibilities, and the sense that I really believe that he's just in over his head. So he's got a stream of consciousness where he's just grasping for straws. Well, see, that's dangerous when you got the most powerful office in the world.
Reporting from Cleveland, Ohio, I'm Nicholas Ballasy.